How are 4 major hydroelectric industry associations located around the globe advancing and supporting hydro? And what has happened in the market in the past year that surprised them? You'll learn the answers to these 2 questions over the next few minutes.
We're behind the scenes working on standing up a communications committee. In hydropower, for example, we have pump storage, but it's unclear if it's pumped storage, water batteries, energy storage. So I think this communication committee is going to be very important to start harmonizing and unifying our voice. We're really taking a stance and doing a lot more advocacy work. We've been out there with comment letters, letters of support, and we're coming up with some strategic advocacy initiatives for 2019-2020 that are really going to support our members.
NHIA has spent decades working on improving the licensing process. We recognize how important it is to get the costs down, to actually make it more reasonable in terms of the amount of time that it takes to license or relicense a project, and to make hydro more competitive that way. We recognize you can't attract investment if you're talking about a 10 or 20-year timeline before a project actually comes online, and is part of a clean energy revolution. And so that's one thing that we've been focused on for a long time. We've been stepping up our efforts. We look at this from both a legislative and an administrative standpoint. We've made tremendous progress over the years and had new legislation just enacted in this last year.
Another focus of our association is getting ready for the electrification of transportation. And it's definitely a buzzword, everybody's talking about it, but it's happening. It's right at our doorstep. It's not something that's a generation away anymore. We are right now road mapping what it would take for the hydropower industry in Canada to seize that opportunity. What will the industry need to do, and how can we respond to that need?
Where we're heading in the future is to start to develop more products, guidelines. We've had sediment management guidelines and case studies. I'm involved in developing operations and maintenance guidelines. We're also starting to see some new topics emerging, like innovative data solutions. This is going to be very important for the sector to be able to ensure that developing countries have access to the deep learning that is available in the sector. Another area that you're going to be hearing a lot more about is hybrid solutions, renewables working together. It's a win-win for everybody. The trend in renewables is more or less opposite to what we expected. The growth in solar and wind is actually declining. Hydro is more or less plateaued, and we seem to be losing ground in favor of the other forms of energy, whereas 2 or 3 years ago we would have said it was going to continue in the opposite direction. So this is concerning to every sector, and we do have to pay attention to this, and we obviously have work to continue to turn that around.
What surprised me is really the interest in storage. And in Canada, it seems like people are really tapping into that discussion, thinking that it's a reality, when really for some people it's an aspiration. Technology isn't there yet, right? And so for battery storage to actually be able to supply large loads, it's going to take quite a bit of effort. And in Canada, I'm not sure it would make sense. Don't design policy so that wind and solar team up with those batteries and create that storage opportunity that everybody's talking about, because in Canada you've got real storage, you've got those reservoirs that are really and effectively your green batteries.
I think the issues that surprise me the most, as diverse as hydropower is, we're marine hydrokinetic, we're small hydro, we're large hydro, we're pump storage, that there's still a unified voice for hydropower. Everyone's got the betterment of hydropower at the forefront of their minds as we have these discussions about what our challenges are and what our opportunities are. So that's been really surprising. Another surprising aspect is the recent FERC rulemaking. They were given the authority to really reimagine how we go about licensing projects that are really non-invasive. And I was surprised that we didn't see more imagination and opportunities laid out in that recent rulemaking.
The incredible pace that the electric industry is changing, all the wind and solar that's come on, so the movement toward corporate buyers, the incredible influence they have. And now we're seeing in this Congress the whole discussion of the Green New Deal. A few years ago we wouldn't be talking about this. It kind of got dampered down. All of a sudden this issue of moving forward very, very aggressively on the issue of clean energy and bringing more low emissions or non-emissions or low carbon technologies into the forefront has become so critically important.